In NBA 2K19, MyTeam was probably my favorite mode from around the time, I would say about a month after the game came out, up until around the end of the year. So December, January, once you got in that mode, once you could no longer find a team with a real point guard, when every team you played had a small forward or a power forward, I figured it was probably time for me to bounce before I seen a Galaxy Opal center at the point guard spot. It was all just getting too goofy to enjoy. Bam! Position lock, bitches. That means all you cheesers out there, bye bye. Okay, so today I am going to take you through all of the major changes to NBA 2K20 MyTeam. They released about a 2-minute trailer earlier this morning, but to be honest, it really just looked like a ton of colorful gambling. I couldn't really get anything from what they were actually showing there. However, I read the dev diary and they made fixes, they made additions, and I know that very few people are actually going to take like 20-25 minutes to read the whole thing, so I did that part for you. I took a mental note of what I thought was important, and at least based off of what I see here, I think they've got some great ideas. I think this can potentially be a very fun mode. I'm gonna start with the most important thing first because this didn't come until way late in the dev diary, but I think the biggest news for NBA 2K20 MyTeam is position locks. Thank you devs for listening, thank you 2K for listening. I will give them shit when they deserve it, but they have responded here. The number one reason that in all of my NBA 2K19 MyTeam recordings, where you see my team and it looks horribly outdated and I have like all the old cards, it's because I stopped playing the mode so early on. I did not advance because I was so goddamn sick of these goofy lineups. These dudes running Hito Turkoglu at point guard when he had that incredibly cheap release. I don't remember what base it was, but that was a huge cheese this year. Dudes running Giannis at point guard. Not even, I guess that's reasonable, right? We seen Giannis take the ball up, but I'm talking about guys that never play point guard. Paul George, he don't play point guard. All that goofy stuff. It forced me to play lineups that I didn't want to play just to be able to actually compete because you couldn't have no small point guard out there. So that's done. Y'all out here trying to cheese and exploit with those lineups, you're done. This year, a player is limited to his primary or secondary positions on his card. So Giannis is probably a primary power forward, secondary small forward. That's all you can do with him. Thank God, dudes in this mode are actually gonna have to give some type of effort in using a real point guard to run a real offense. This is definitely a big change for the longevity of the mode. Ooh, this is a big one. I should probably put this towards the beginning of the video. I'm kind of far in right now. There is a new team overall formula. So they're saying that they have rewritten the formulas used to calculate a team's overall ratings in this mode. So you're not going to have a team of rubies and some sapphires mixed overall that's going to get you like a 97 or a 99. They're saying since my team is different from every other mode in the game, it should be calculated differently. Now, he doesn't go into too much more detail here, but correct me if I'm wrong. If they've rewritten the way team overalls are going to be calculated, does that mean dudes are not going to be able to cheese anymore, so they're going to have this amazing team off their bench, but they played a bunch of scrubs in the starting lineup, and they did that with the sole goal of trying to find somebody who was worse than them so that they could get an easy win? Do you remember that cheese? It sounds like what they're saying here is they've made it so you can't hide your best players anymore. You cannot hide, or you cannot mix up the ratings and all that just so you can get an easy win. So if that is what it sounds like, then cheesers, bye bye, take that bullshit elsewhere. He actually has it in separate headings here. So one says improved online matchmaking, that is separate from what I just talked about, and it says that there are more sophisticated matchmaking algorithms and they're gonna make every reasonable attempt to make sure that like skilled players are matched up against each other. So yeah, if that actually works like they're saying on paper, that cheese will be gone. That bullshit y'all were pulling last year, bye bye. Next up, they've done a lot with the cards, and one of the main features that they had at the top of the dev diary, it's called card evolution. And this sounds pretty fun because one of the things that I liked most about my team is that I always felt like there was some type of objective. I felt like there was something for me to do every time I logged into the mode, so that's why it kept my attention for the beginning of the year. And it looks like they put a lot of time and effort to expand on that idea, so card evolution is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to have cards throughout the year that literally evolve. Their attributes can get better, their card rank can actually change. So whatever gym color they start at, there's a limit to where they can actually go, but it can actually hop levels. So this is different than in NBA 2K19. I would say the most comparable thing is like adding shoes to a player or something to up his attributes just a little bit. Well, through card evolution, you're actually going to be completing objectives from game to game to up the level of that card, or up attributes of that card. Now check this out, here are some specifics. They say that when you open MyTeam this year, when you first enter, they're going to give you a free evolution card. They say that you're going to be able to choose from a free Derrick Rose, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, or Hakeem Olajuwon evolution card. And this is not like a free agent card, this is permanent, you get to keep it throughout the year. I think that's especially dope because normally what happens is you enter MyTeam, and if you have the Legend Edition or whatever, you open some packs, you hope that you get a decent enough card to have something maybe to build around. But you know, normally your team kind of starts off sorry and you just play a little bit and then you get a card eventually. At least that's how it was for me last year. So this year with your Evo card, the evolution card, that you're going to be able to choose, you start your offense right there. You can start your game plan right there, and at least for like the first, I don't know, couple of weeks or so or whatever, you have something to go off of with a very good card. These are good players. So that's the basic idea of an evolution card. Again, I'm going to link the diary so you can read all the little details, but one important detail here is when your collection reaches 750 cards in the collector level, they are going to give you an Amethyst Isaiah Thomas. We're talking about the short one, our Isaiah Thomas, not the 80s, dude with the hip problems. So he's going to start off as an Amethyst, and ultimately you can level him up to Galaxy Opal. I think Galaxy Opals are fucking goofy, but they're a part of the mode nonetheless. That's just an example of what you may be able to do with certain evolution cards. Oh, by the way, they did mention in this dev diary, one of the cool things about evolution cards is it kind of creates an economy or a micro economy within the auction house. So one strategy some of you might take is you might go into the auction house and buy an evolution card, just its raw form, right? Nothing has been done to it. You buy it, take him, develop him, build him up as much as possible, put him back on the auction house, and now you flipped him for a profit. I assume that would be a very common practice. Before moving on, I actually wanted to skip way down into the diary because they seem to have left the cooler stuff at the bottom, but check out the card collections they have this year because I think they had a really good idea and the reasoning behind it was really solid as well. So they've added 3 really cool card collections. You have the Prime Series collection, the Spotlight collection, and the Legacy Showcase collection. I'm gonna start off with the Spotlight collection because I think this is the coolest thing they did here. So in the Spotlight collection, they are literally going to be picking a player in each release to spotlight, picking a player's career to spotlight. So they gave an example here for how this works. The first one they're going to be spotlighting is on launch day, that's on September 6th, and it's going to be for Dwayne Wade. However, it is not just a Dwayne Wade card. So they're called Spotlight Series, and it's a collection of cards for players that played a big part in big moments of Dwayne Wade's career. So each Spotlight Series has a set of challenges that are tied to the pack, and the challenges are meant to help tell the story of this player's career, whoever's being spotlighted. So you complete the first challenge, and your reward for doing so is a Dwayne Wade evolution card. From there, you have to use that card to play through the next challenges. So specifically they're saying here, the second challenge is going to recreate Dwayne Wade's NBA debut. So your lineup is going to have Dwayne Wade and it's going to take on the 2003 76ers. As you move on through the challenges, you're going to have to use more cards that you actually earn from these challenges, and it's going to lead up to you recreating Dwayne Wade's most memorable games, and this can be regular season, playoffs, even the All-Star game. That concept sounds amazing. That sounds entertaining, that sounds engaging, that sounds like you're actually gonna have something to play for. And it's rewarding because when you get to the last challenge for whatever player you're doing, but we're talking about Dwayne Wade. So for the last Wade challenge, you have to have his entire spotlight set in your lineup. So every player that you've earned along the way, they all have to be there. If you win that last challenge, the grand prize is a Diamond Alonzo Mourning. That is a very fun and creative way to earn a very good card. And so that's just Dwayne Wade. I don't know who else they'll be highlighting. I'm assuming they'll be highlighting guys probably like Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki. No clue yet, but just think about that. Think about recreating Kobe's career throughout MyTeam and doing it with a set of challenges that guides you. That sounds really cool right now. Just on paper, that sounds fucking awesome. The Legacy Showcase collection works a little bit different. Basically, they said that they feel here that legendary players throughout history are being lost. They gave examples of Earl Monroe, guys like Willis Reed, you know, the ones that you don't hear about as much. You hear about maybe like one moment for them, or you just hear their name, but you don't really hear a lot about their accomplishments. So every few weeks, they're going to be highlighting an NBA legend that they think needs more time in the limelight. If you are to collect all of the Legacy Showcase cards within in a certain set. They're not specific, but they say you get a tremendous reward for it, so that's probably some like really high level card of a really special player. Out of the 3 collections, the Prime series seems to be the most generic, so basically what they're saying here is that you're gonna have some of the biggest names in NBA history, and they're gonna have bonus points for players that are just fan favorites, or ones that seem to be better in the video game than they are in real life. So you know how we always talk about in NBA 2K13, J.R. Smith was just a god? Basically just recognizable names that are definitely good in real life, but in video games they're just lights out. So I guess they're going to be reflecting that with their attribute boost throughout this series, but the biggest news here is not actually what they did to these cards, but it's about actually collecting them. So they say here that the Prime series is going to be spread across 15 releases. The 15 releases will be broken down into series 1, 2, and 3, so that's going to be 5 cards each. They say that when you collect all 5 cards in a given series, then you get a reward, pretty much like how you get in the Legacy Showcase. So he gives an example here and says that one reward would be a Galaxy Opal Ray Allen. I would hate to be defending that. Now on to Triple Threat. I actually love Triple Threat. That might have been my favorite mode in a 2K for some time now. It was very cool to just take 3 of your players that you've earned, go against somebody online, and it was very low pressure. There was really no anger associated with the mode. It was just kind of like arcade basketball. I always loved the setting, and they've made a lot of changes here. So they start off talking about what they did offline, and I probably won't notice these changes because I never played Triple Threat offline. I never saw the reason. I just felt like that wouldn't be fun as opposed to playing people online. Anyways, they say here that the 3-player lineup that you play against, if you're playing the offline mode, take a note of that. They're saying that the 3 opponents you face are going to be determined every single game from the set of cards that have been released up to that point in the year, and it's going to be random. So they say the point of this was done to make sure that you're going to be playing a new team every time you play offline, which again, I don't know, you tell me, was that a problem? Because I never played offline. Were y'all running into the same cards all the time? If you were, that's something that they've changed here. They've also made changes to the rewards that you were going to get for Triple Threat wins. Those are some details that you can read about, but the main thing here is that if you're able to get 1,000 wins in the mode, you get a Galaxy Opal Dominique Wilkins. So for those of you willing to just play Triple Threat all the damn time, somewhere throughout the year, I don't know how long that's going to take you, but that's one of these sure ways you can get a Galaxy Opal. I like that. That reminds me of Super Smash Bros. And how you had to put in mad hours to get Mewtwo and Mr. Game & Watch instead of just straight out buying them. So yeah, you can read the rest of the Triple Threat news yourself. It mostly has to do with rewards. The mode itself does not seem to have changed much. Daily login prizes have been added. Like I said, they're basically just trying to reward you as much as possible. I assume for the people that say that this mode takes all the money in the world to play, and the people who don't get enjoyment out of it because they know they're not going to spend any money with it. Well, it seems like they're trying to alleviate that a bit. Daily login prizes are just going to vary. They could be packs, MyTeam points, tokens, all the stuff that you would expect. But the thing to actually point out here is they're saying if you're able to log in all 7 days in a week, you'll be able to open the grand prize for whatever week that you're in. Of course, the grand prize is always going to change, and that can be larger sums of MyTeam points, tokens, a box of cards, you know those things. Those cost grip if you're just gonna buy them. Or they say a card that is only available for the daily login feature, so there's gonna be some cards that you can only get by logging in all the time. Domination. Domination is not a mode that I really liked that much when I played my team because I felt like my team was too good. So I'd be going through and I'd be beating these teams by 50 points. They weren't fun to play against, they weren't challenging. Felt like a giant waste of time just so I could get a reward. Well, maybe this is gonna help. They say a main change that they've made this year is that you'll now be able to choose the difficulty level for the game. So any game that you play, you can just go ahead and choose the difficulty outright. So the lowest difficulty is gonna get you 1 star, the next difficulty is gonna get you 2 stars, and then of course the last is gonna get you 3. Doing the 3-star difficulty is gonna let you dominate whatever team you are playing. So they say that this is good because if you play domination like right out of the gate and you play it with whatever team you have, I guess some people were complaining about the difficulty last year, and now you just get to go ahead and choose the difficulty so you can earn some stars at least while you're just building your team up. That was the main thing here. Or if you're like me and you came in kind of late, you can change the difficulty and play on the hardest level possible, so it'll at least be a challenge. You're still going to receive a very good card for dominating each tier, and this year dominating the final tier is going to get you a pink diamond Sean Kemp. Now, as you're playing through domination this year, they're going to give you a bunch of evolution cards, which they say they know you're not going to necessarily keep in your lineup. Their main point is that once you've dominated all 3 tiers and you've evolved all those cards that they gave you, you get the grand prize of domination, which is a pink diamond Jason Richardson that evolves into Galaxy Opal. So that's the difference. You dominate the final tier and you get pink diamond Sean Kemp, but he cannot evolve. Jason Richardson, yeah, that's another way to get a Galaxy Opal, so now you already know how to get domination Dominique Wilkins and Jason Richardson as 2 Galaxy Opals you can go ahead and start working towards. Heat Check has been redesigned this year. I never really bothered so much with Heat Check, I never paid that much attention, so I didn't see the problems with it. One problem they specifically talk about in the diary is that the way they used to base it, they could not accurately reflect something that had just happened the night before. So you remember how Klay Thompson was just trash when this year started and he couldn't hit a shot for some reason? Well, then there's that one night he just bust 50 in Chicago out of nowhere. That happens, but then in MyTeam the next day that was not reflected because in all the games leading up to that he was garbage. So to alleviate that problem, they're saying this year that they're going to reflect whatever happened on a night-to-night basis. So this year if Klay Thompson hit 60 with 11 dribbles, next day he is going to be on fire. It doesn't matter if he shot like 0 of 10 every game before that. Also for the Heat Check, they are trying to compare a player where he is on a day-to-day basis compared to his normal statistical output. That being said, one change that they made this year is there's going to be different levels of heat that a player can actually evolve from, or evolve into. So he can go from everything from not on fire to low heat, medium heat, and high heat. And they actually gave a screenshot just in case that's confusing. So Klay Thompson could have been ice cold, had that 60-point night, and now he is as hot as possible before the Heat Check card. I think that makes sense. I think the last 2 things that I care about here is one, you're gonna have easier auction house access. They say this year all you need to do is collect 30 cards, you're gonna get 20 alone from the starter pack, and then you get the auction house. That's awesome because I've never been in the auction house business. That's one part that I didn't get to last year, but I don't think I ever unlocked it because of what you actually had to do to get it. So you're gonna be able to get that probably within like the first week or so of playing this mode. And finally, MyTeam unlimited resets. So basically you remember how you would earn a certain card for like going 12-0 or whatever your record was in MyTeam Unlimited. There was like a certain tier you would fall into and a certain prize that you would get for it. Well, this year they're saying on the first day of every month that is going to reset. Your record is going to reset in MyTeam Unlimited. So when that reset happens, you're just gonna automatically get whatever prize for whatever tier you fall in based off of how many wins you have at that point. So if you end and you're like 6-0 or whatever because you haven't played a lot, if that's your record on the first day of the next month, they're gonna give you the correlating prize. And they're saying that they want to ensure that when new player of the month cards are introduced, everyone's gonna be on the same field. So when the first day of the month comes, what if somebody's already 8-0 and somebody hasn't even played yet, right? So now guys have an advantage because they're way closer to already getting that top prize. So that's not gonna happen this year. That's a pretty cool quality of life thing. Alright, and the rest is up to you to read yourself. I've mentioned everything that I thought was really cool and or important. The dev diary is linked, so if you want to go hunt for some little details that were pretty cool, like they talked a lot about prizes and a new prize wheel and stuff, I just didn't want to mention that here. So you can go look for that on your own, but yeah, I think MyTeam has a chance this year. I found it cool last year up to a certain point. It seems like they made a lot of changes this year to try to extend the longevity and try to reward you even more for playing the mode. And some of the changes sound like maybe you won't need to spend a ton of money to actually play the game. That's everyone's biggest gripe, right? So yeah, with some of the changes that I've read with that, and especially the positional locks, that's what actually made me just leave. Maybe a mode that I found fun for like 3 or 4 months last year might go the whole year, who knows? It's just on paper right now, so I will not get ahead of myself. Anyways, if you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like, comment, and sub for more NBA 2K20 content, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications when the next video drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.